What's up guys, cycling fanatics. Finally it's time for another Q&A video. Today I'm not doing it by myself, but I've got help from my lovely girlfriend. So we're gonna answer your questions together. Okay, we loaded all the questions from the previous Q&A videos. Desi, my girlfriend, is gonna read out your questions. I'm gonna answer them. Here we go.
So TSL is asking, what is your favorite place you have visited?
Favorite place? I've got a lot of favorite places, but so far I think the favorite place when it comes to cycling has to be Mallorca. Mallorca was a great place to ride my bike, and we were there together. We also were doing a lot of really nice stuff during the day, and it's a lovely island. So
Niels Heldens is asking if you recommend weekly over-under training, 40-20s, if you are a junior or first year.
Over-under training, so that's heavy intervals as a junior, is a good idea, because when you're a junior you don't really need to train on volume because the races are very short. So you need to do the specific stuff, which are intervals, and you need to train on high tempo and fast riding. So yes, it's a good idea.
Hi Jasper, I'm 15 years old. This is Adrian Quick. My weight is 57 kilos and height is 178. I'm living in North Germany. How to improve my climbing?
How to improve my climbing? Your question is a bit unspecific. Are you a good climber? How long is the climb? How long have you been riding for? Please guys, when you ask questions, be very specific, because this is too general. Improving your climbing is all about your power to weight ratio. So decrease your weight, increase your power. Easy as that.
My account asks, what do you think of Haribo as cycling food?
Haribo? I was eating Haribo on my Peter Timofeev Classic with the big moustache. I think Haribo is pretty good cycling food, because it's basically wine gums, very small wine gums, so why not? There's a lot of sugar in there, so if you're riding on a high intensity, boom, you can burn all the sugar while you're riding.
Adrian now asks, Jasper, do you think you will make a Cycling Fanatics t-shirts?
Yes, I will. Not sure when, but I am working on Cycling Fanatics apparel. Start thinking of a logo, guys. Start thinking about a logo. We need a logo.
Patrick Best. Hey Jasper, love the racing traveling videos you put up. Very interesting to see different types of racing over the world. Love your work, man. Just wondering, when you race, do you do recon of the course before racing on it? And do you have a local training ride that simulates the certain race you want to win?
First of all, you're welcome. Thanks for watching my channel. Patrick, I do a recon when I have the time. When you look at my videos about racing, sometimes I say like I've arrived just in time of the race, and I go into my warm-up and boom, I go on the course. So I have no idea where I'm going. But the good thing of a criterium is that you're doing like 30, 40, 50 laps. So who cares? I've got the first 10 laps to figure out how all the turns are going, and then that's when it starts being important. So for a criterium, no problem. But when you do a bigger race, it's going to be one big loop, and you're not going to be going around the same turn 50 times. So doing a recon before the race is very smart, because you will need to know when are the climbs, when is going to be the crosswind, when will start the finale, when do you have a downhill, when do you have a wide road and narrow road. So yes, going into the race, always do a recon.
In Ciencio, I would love to see you do some cyclocross races.
Cyclocross, I've said this a lot of times. Cyclocross in Holland, we call it veldrijden. It's always on the grass, in the mud, in the rain, in the cold. All these things I don't like. So, not for me.
Sumat Kashyap, What genre of music do you search for your soundtrack, and in which websites? Love your soundtrack selections.
Thanks. That's the hardest thing of this whole YouTube. Making videos is the copyrights of the music. So I cannot use all the music because it will either be blocked or demonetized or whatever. So I have to go for the specific music which is without any copyright. So I'll try to find some music on SoundCloud, but it takes a lot of time, so that's why I'm trying to sort of stay with the same artist, which I know will be okay for the video. So far I use Airlane a lot, which is a guy on SoundCloud that I use his music, and I really like it. So
Kian Myers, how fit do you have to be to stick with the bunch in races as an 18-year-old guy?
In general, when you're in the bunch, you don't need to be really fit. When you're in the front of the bunch, that's when you need to be really fit. So as long as you stay in the peloton, you'll be okay. As long as it doesn't go up or there's no crosswind. When you have hills, mountains or crosswind, that's when you're gonna be falling off the back, when you don't have the fitness to stay in the front. So Verkuijl,
will we get to see a food vlog sometimes?
Food vlog. Food? Of food? Food. I will be making a video about intermittent fasting, which is about food. Still need to do it, but it will come up this winter. And I have a video about cycling food 101. Check the link up here. I will explain everything you need to know about eating on a long cycling ride, so check that out too.
Raving cyclists, how much do you use resting heart rate to judge fitness? My resting heart rate is usually around 50. I have been working hard lately and my resting heart rate is mid-60s. My legs feel good, so I keep working. Should I ease up a little?
Resting heart rate can be a measurement to judge how well rested you are, but it can also give a wrong perception. So don't judge everything on your resting heart rate. Sometimes I have a resting heart rate of 38 and I feel terrible, and then I have a heart rate in the morning of 55 and I feel great. So I think there's been scientific testing about heart rate and everything, but it's more the heart rate variability. So somehow there's a variable in your heart rate between every beat, and that's what gives you an idea of how well rested you are, but you can't really measure it without very expensive equipment. So don't go too hard on your resting heart rate, just go on how you feel and keep the heart rate in mind. As long as you feel good, maybe just keep on going.
This is a good question from Jules Bouchard. Will you do the Etape du Tour 2017 in France next summer?
No. I will not, and I'll tell you why. Because I've been training for the Marmol 2 years now, 2016 and this year, and it takes up the whole year. It pretty much takes up your whole training schedule, and the race itself is such a big strain on your body that it will mess up my whole season. So next year I'll try to focus more on other races, so I'm not gonna do a similar type of event as a race. Maybe I'm gonna do a ride like that for fun, but I won't be training for it.
Christopher Rourke asks, ever considered doing an Eroica?
Christopher, I have no idea what Eroica race is. Next.
Yuri Verkuijl, what is your dream bike?
My dream bike is a bike. I don't really have a dream bike, but if I could think of a dream bike, it would be super aerodynamic, super light, super stiff, brakes very good, handles very good, and looks nice all at the same time. Which is pretty much the perfect bike. It doesn't exist.
German Andres Morales España. Which intermittent fasting do you do? Is it effective, and why do you do it?
Short answer on this question, because like I just said, I'm gonna make a long video about it, but I do 14 to 16 hours fasting, 8-hour feeding window every day, and I train during my fast, and then I start eating in general. I think it is effective in a couple ways. First of all, I don't have to think about eating before I leave my house and go for a ride. Second, you train on your fat burning system while your body is also using fat burn to generate energy. So it makes sense, in my opinion.
Arthur Maas, would you consider go to the velodrome during the pre and off season? And have you ever considered racing Verkuijl, criterium and races alike? Cheers from Brazil.
What's up, Brazil? Verkuijl crits? Not really, because I don't have that much experience with fixies. Velodrome? Yes, might be a good idea, but I don't have a proper track bike, so not sure. But I like the fact that you're indoors and don't have to worry about traffic lights and snow on the road and whatever in the winter. I have been on a track on a velodrome a long time ago, but not really planning anything on the track.
Reese Tam, what's your weekly training routine like with all your flying?
I don't have a weekly training routine because of all the flying. That's pretty much the answer. Every week is different. Every week I have to plan my training according to my schedule that I get from the boss. So when I go to a certain destination where I can ride a lot, I will do my training there, and vice versa. So besides making a training plan that makes sense inside a week and the next week and the next month, I just have to make it work around my schedule and see whenever I can train.
James Hirschman, how can you tell from your data if you're overtraining or undertraining, HR, power, etc.? Also, what is your favorite interval workouts?
If you've done a power test and you set out your training zones, you can also set out your heart rate zones. And if they match, then your training is okay. If I would do a sweet spot zone training and I would push my sweet spot power and my heart rate is going almost to my threshold, I know that either my power is too high, I'm too tired, or when you're in the indoor trainer, your heart rate might be higher because it's too warm, or you're not drinking enough, maybe you're not rested. So it can be more than one reason, but in general, when you're feeling okay, you're riding outside and you're pushing your, let's say, threshold power zone, your heart rate should be around your threshold. If it's not, if it's too low, then maybe your power is too low and you need to adjust your FTP. If it's too high, your heart rate, then maybe you're pushing too hard and your power zones are not set correctly. So that's how you can see if they match up. Know your power zones, but also know your heart rate zones. When at some point you can't get your heart rate up, or you're unable to push those high wattages like you used to do, maybe that's when you're starting to be overtrained or undertrained. If you don't do anything for a couple months, then you're probably not able to push the same power as well. So it depends on the situation, but I hope this gives you an idea.
George Richards, do you use Swift? And if not, would you consider using it? Do you think it's a useful training tool?
I am using Swift. Check out my live streams. Depends on how you use Swift. If you use Swift as a game, it's not a training tool. If you use Swift to import your training files and then do your training, yes, it is a useful training tool.
Mino. Hi Jasper, I'm 15 years old and I race in France. I am a cadet and next year I pass junior, so the race distance go up to 100k with 40 kilometers an hour average speed compared to 60k in cadets. So I want to know what sort of training I should do this winter to get ready for these hard races.
So the races will be almost twice as long in distance, but you're going faster, so it's only maybe 1.5 times as long as in time. I would not worry too much about volume because it's still relatively short. You're gonna do 100k in under 3 hours. So do a lot of high intensity work. Don't spend too many rides and time on base miles. You don't really need those. Do sweet spot and heavy intervals, because that's probably what the whole race is gonna be. Everybody is gonna go like crazy the whole time. Make sure you're ready for that kind of racing.
Robert Omen, what up Jasper? When is the first Sunday Cycling Fanatics meetup? Where we have a ride and a few coffees and some beers.
I think Robert is a Dutch guy and he wants to know when we're gonna do a Cycling Fanatics meetup. Let me think about that. I think it's gonna be soon, but right now it's snowing in the Netherlands, so maybe not. I don't know. But you can join me on Zwift. That's a good meetup for now.
The Life of Jake. Hey Jasper, are you coming to Australia?
Not in any... Not soon. No, sorry.
Oreo says B00. Can you do a video on how to create a yearly training plan?
Yes, I will still do that video this winter.
Nathaniel Frostol, what are your thoughts on veganism?
I like meat. Alright guys, a lot of questions. I'm gonna clip off the video right here. We're gonna go to part 2 in the next video. So stay tuned, post your questions in this video or in the next. And more questions in part 2 of this Q&A.
What's up, cycling fanatics?
80?
18.
18. Besides trying to make a... What? Besides... So... Airplane. Waar dan?